Well, happy Tuesday. Hopefully everyone's having an awesome day because I'm kind of having a semi-awesome day. But it doesn't really matter how I'm doing. Really doesn't. Really doesn't. But we're going to talk about Russia. We're going to talk about China. And we're going to talk about Fox News was probably going to not disappoint in their bias when it comes to reporting. Because, Fox News is probably going to take a very pro United States approach onto this. But heaven forbid China and Russia team up and create a peace deal for Ukraine. I mean, who would have thunk that? But anyways, according to Fox News, this was published on the 21st, around 12:35 Eastern Time. Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping signed an economic deal in the latest demonstration of friendship without limits. Putin tout plans to create a gas pipeline from Siberia to China. I don't know if China has any oil. Chinese President Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin signed an agreement to expand their economic ties during a bilateral meeting in Moscow on Tuesday. Xi is in Moscow for a multi-day series of meetings with Russia counterpart aimed at demonstrating two countries' new friendship without limits. Xi and Putin emphasize the importance of jointly safeguarding their country's energy security. Putin touted plans on a gas pipeline from Siberia to China ahead of the meeting, saying that the agreement was all but finalized. We're just discussing a good project, the new Power of Siberia 2 pipeline via Mongolia. Practically all parameters of the agreement have been finalized, Putin told Xi at the beginning of the meeting, according to Financial Times. Is this where Biden's going to say that's not going to happen? Is he going to bomb this pipeline as well? I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions. Beijing has grown increasingly friendly with Moscow over the past years as Putin's invasion of Ukraine left the country largely ostracized on the world stage, because the world I live in is the U.S. centric, which is also NATO centric, which means Russia could do no good, when in reality, we're not dealing with good people on any side of this conflict. Russia's not the good guys, NATO's not the good guys, and Ukraine is not the good guys. It's just the way the things are, just how the world works. We're just filled with power-hungry people trying to make sure what's best for their country prevails. And unfortunately, there's not room for good guys in that scenario. Xi's visit comes just days after the International Criminal Court issues a warrant for Putin's arrest for war crimes committed in Ukraine. It's funny how the ICC never tries to arrest a United States president for war crimes. George Bush and Obama being one of them, or two of them. They don't talk about any NATO country leaders being brought up on war crimes. I'm pretty sure every country in the modern 50 years ago, committed some form of war crimes. But yet the ICC, unless I'm maybe not reading into it, because I haven't really looked into the ICC, so I don't know if I can make that claim. But it seems like that would make the news that a NATO country leader is being brought up on war crimes. Putin alleged during Monday meeting that the Western world is conspiring to stifle Russia and China by persistently working to split the common Eurasia space into a network for exclusive clubs and military bloc that would serve to contain our country's development. That won't work, he says, according to the Wall Street Journal. Let's see here. The exact details of Russia and China Tuesday economic agreement have yet been released. The balance of power is shifting right before our eyes, but some people refuse to see it. They're too focused on insignificant things that history will reflect, far less critical our position as leaders of the free world. No, actually, I wasn't really disappointed with Russia, not Russia, but with Fox News. This is just stating out the lines where they are drawn. I'm pretty sure if I were to watch this 1 minute and 31-minute clip from Fox, I was hearing on the news that they're calling malarkey that the China and Russia can't be friends. This is just for show. This is to get a response from us. And it's not working. We're not buying it. But you know what? I don't really care. The thing is, I think United States dominance is going to drop. Let's see here. Chinese meat, but could be... I don't know. Let's see what the CNN... Oh, really? I really wish that was not a video. I mean, it really tells me right there that's a video. Let's see here. See here. Let's see what the BBC says. Let's see here. Putin put a path forth that they're ready for the West and Kyiv. Russian leader met with the Chinese President Xi. Go away. Going forward, let's see here. Leaders in Moscow, China planned this last month, but not explicitly called for Russia to leave Ukraine, listing 12 points to call for peace talks in respect for national sovereignty without specific proposal, but Ukraine has insisted that Russia withdraw from its territory as a condition for any talks, and there's no sign that Russia is ready to do that. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said on Monday that the calling for the ceasefire before Russia withdrawal would be effectively supporting the ratification of Russia conquest. The joint news conference after talks with Mr. Xi ended, Mr. Putin said many provisions of the Chinese peace bill will be taken as a basis for setting of the conflict of Ukraine, whether the West and Kyiv is ready for it, but Russia has yet to see such readiness from the other side, he added. Standing alongside Russia, leader Mr. Xi, or President Xi, has said in his government is in favor for peace and dialogue, and that China was on the right side of history. Again, he claimed that China had an impartial position on the conflict in Ukraine, seeing that the cast Beijing as a potential peacemaker. The pair also discussed growing trade, energy, and political ties between the two nations. China is leading the foreign trade partner of Russia, President Putin said, pledging to keep and surpass high level of trade achieved last year. According to Russia state media, the two leaders also signed joint documents detailing plans of economic cooperation, and one of the plans to deepen Russia and China partnership, reach an agreement on the planned pipeline in Syria to deliver Russian gas to China via Mongolia, agreed that nuclear war must never be unleashed. So there's a signed deal for not using nuclear weapons. So that's very refreshing to hear. Discussion of their concern of the new AUKUS Pact defense agreement between Australia, UK, and US expressed concerns over NATO growing presence in Asia on military and security issues, which will be laughed at, according to NATO, saying there is no security issues. Now give up your land. Or we'll do a coup of your government that's more pro-Russia, not pro-Russia, but more pro-NATO like they did with Ukraine. Oh, wait, is that still a conspiracy theory or has that been proven yet? I'm not 100% sure where my conspiracy, if they've been proven true or not. There are growing concerns that the West and China might provide military support for Russia. You think? We haven't seen any proof that China is delivering lethal weapons to Russia, but we've seen some signs that have been requests from Russia, and that's an issue to be considering in Beijing by the Chinese authorities. NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg told reporters in Brussels. A joint statement released by China and Russia after a meeting between the two leaders says the close partnership between the two countries did not constitute a military political alliance, even though it kind of does, but kind of doesn't, because they don't really have to say it. They could just be friends. They could have friendly trade relations and it's up to the West to determine whether or not it's a military political alliance or not. It could be, I don't know, let's say NATO attacks Russia and then China joins the fray to attack NATO without them actually signing an agreement. Let's see, a joint release by China meeting between the two leaders. Yeah, I already read that. Relationships do not constitute a bloc and do not have confrontational natures and are not directly against third countries, they added. Mr. Putin also used a press conference to accuse the West of deploying weapons with nuclear component and said Russia will be forced to react to the UK sent shells made with depleted uranium in Ukraine. All right, UK, the ball's in your court now. UK Ministry of Defense said depleted uranium was standard component, which had nothing to do with nuclear weapons. They kind of do. They're actually used for armor piercing because the way that they splinter causes the components to pierce armor while also shooting a projectile further into the tank. Even though it's not a nuclear weapon with no nuclear blast, there is a nuclear component into it because it's depleted uranium. President Xi was given fanfare welcome after he arrived at the Kremlin for his second day of talks. You know, they're using Mr. They're calling him Mr. Xi, but isn't he President Xi? He was also very happy to be a mascot to describe talks with the President Putin on frank, open, and friendly. His visit to Russia comes days after the International Court or Criminal Court issued a warrant for President Putin's war crime or arrest. Yeah. The state visits a mirrored by Japan Prime Minister Fumio Kishida surprised visit to Kyiv, making him the first leader of Japan to visit a country in conflict since World War II. President Zelensky said he'll join the G7 summit in Japan in May via video link at the invitation of Mr. Kishida. He told a press conference on Tuesday afternoon that he also asked China to get involved in talks but was waiting for an answer. We offer China to become a partner of implementation of peace from a, he said, we invite you to dialogue and we're waiting for your answer. Is that Zelensky or is that the president or prime minister? They don't really make it clear. I'm assuming that it's going to be Zelensky. Anyways, that's where we're at with that. I think this is troubling times for the United States. I think it's troubling time for NATO. I think NATO's dominance in the world is going to be tested in the next couple of years. And we're going to see how the United States and NATO reacts. I mean, right now it's kind of unconfirmed but confirmed that Biden ordered the bombing of the pipelines to Germany from Russia. If that ever actually grows any feet, maybe in year 3 of the Ukraine war with Russia, where Germany, the public of Germany is asking their prime minister, who really blew up the pipeline? Why do we have to suffer? Type answers might shed some light and probably break up NATO. Definitely a Russia-China relationship, especially with the BRIC relationship only straightening, is also going to be a threat to NATO/US dominance. And I don't know how that looks. I think it's I don't think it's neither good nor bad for that. I just think it's just something new that we have to think about. That being said, that is my video. Hopefully they could get peace in Ukraine to where every side is somewhat happy to where they could do a peace treaty. But who knows? Who knows how far NATO's going to push this? Maybe Zelensky wises up and says that they can't win a war, so they must concede the land that was taken from Russia, draw up new maps. Because I don't think that Zelensky can win this war on his own. And who knows? He may be asking for troops to be deployed from NATO to help him fight it. Or he's going to do a peace treaty with them. Who knows? Anyway, that is my video. Leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day. morning or evening.